What's going on, everybody? Average Arcader here, and recently I've been playing a lot of Outriders. Now, for those of you who don't know what Outriders is, it is a third-person shooter, a brand new third-person shooter from People Can Fly and Square Enix. Now, the date of recording this, it's set to release on April 1st, and I have been playing a ton of the demo that has been released, and really loving it. But it's been getting a lot of flack I think it doesn't deserve. A lot of criticisms I think are a little bit, I don't want to say harsh, but just not justified. So what I wanted to do is, one, address some of those criticisms as well as give my first impressions of the game, and whether or not I recommend picking it up. Let's get started. This first segment I like to call, We Get It. Other games in this genre exist. Yes, guys, we get it. Destiny is a thing. The Division is a thing. Anthem, well, it's sort of still a thing. Either which way, these are all looter shooters, and Outriders has elements from all three of these games in it. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, many are saying yes. In fact, some are accusing Outriders of having an identity crisis, saying that it's attempting to merge those elements of those looter shooters with a more traditional style game like Gears of War, which makes sense. People Can Fly actually worked on some of the Gears of War games, so I can understand why people can see the parallels in the gameplay. But is this a bad thing? Well, no. When you think about an identity crisis in a game, you're thinking about a game where the elements within it are clashing. Therefore, the overall gameplay is suffering from it. I don't see that in Outriders. In fact, Outriders gameplay is good. Really good. You see, People Can Fly have successfully merged the gunplay of games like The Division or Gears of War perfectly with the ability spam of a game like Destiny. Only they definitely cranked up the recharge rate of the abilities so that you can use them way more, thus making the gameplay a lot more exciting. It's not just about jumping into cover, it's about managing those abilities with the gunplay. Now, speaking of abilities, let's talk about the different classes you can be in the game. There are 4 of them: Pyromancer, Technomancer, Trickster, and Devastator. Each class plays very differently from the others, but not just because of the fact they have different abilities. No, that is an important factor, but it's not the main factor. The factor that People Can Fly has focused on is the class's ability to regain health. That decides basically how you're going to be playing each class. The Technomancer gets his health by causing damage. Merge that with the fact that most of his abilities are long range and hard hitting, you have a class that suits a sniper build more so than a close range build. The Pyromancer regains health whenever an enemy that is affected by one of his status effects dies. So you're looking at a mid-range assault class, seeing that most of his attacks don't go too far but have very long-lasting status effects. Now the Trickster and the Devastator both get their health back whenever an enemy dies in close range to them. The cool thing about this is that they're each a different version of a close-range fighter, with the Devastator being a tank that can literally hurl himself across the map to devastate a group of enemies, and the Trickster being a more so backstabbing assassin with the ability to literally teleport behind any enemy to deliver a devastating attack. I had fun playing as all 4 classes, and I cannot wait for the full game to come out in April 1st so that I can see all of their abilities and builds. Now let's move on to the next big criticism, the story. Now I'm going to go into full detail about the story when the full game releases and I'm able to play it. But to address the criticism that the story is just straight up bad, I'm gonna have to say no, it's not. It's not award-winning by any way. It's not the greatest, best story in the looter shooter that there's ever been. It's okay. And guess what? That's okay. The idea that every new game has to have an award-winning, life-changing story is dumb. It's okay to be okay. The gameplay is fun, and the story is interesting enough. The premise has been done a bunch of times, but what premise for a looter shooter hasn't? Its story, you're humans surviving on an alien planet, trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, it's been done a million times, but the characters within the story are interesting enough. Again, like I said, the game doesn't have to break the genre with creativity. It just needs to be decent. Get me entertained, get me interested in what's going on in the world. That's it. And Outriders does that. All in all, Outriders is just a fun game. It's not genre defining, it's not game breaking, it doesn't completely change the genre in looter shooters, but guess what? People Can Fly never said it was going to be. They just said it was going to be a fun, enjoyable game, and that if people liked it, they were going to add on to it. And guess what? That's enough. It's okay that this game is just good, and we should be focusing on that. That it's a fun game to play with developers who are being very open about it, working with their community to create something fun. If it turns into something genre breaking, great, but it doesn't have to be now. It's okay just being a fun, good game. And I highly recommend we all pick it up and play it. I didn't really get too much into the loot of the game because that actually wasn't a big criticism that was going around. Most people seem to like the loot, and I agree, it's pretty good loot as well. I'll go into more detail about the loot when I do my full review, but if you are interested in hearing more about the game, we and my friends at Tedious Gamers did do a podcast Saturday about the game, as well as some other games like Cyberpunk, Minecraft, and a new Pokemon game. If you're interested in hearing that or seeing the video, it is up right now at Tedious Gamers, our channel that we just started literally like a couple days ago. So if you could, go ahead and give that a watch and possibly subscribe not only to me, but also to Tedious Gamers. Thank you again for watching. If you made it through the full video, you are awesome. And stay tuned because I will be streaming and doing more videos on Outriders on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed if you like more. Alright guys, Average Arcader out.